Hey guys, today the video is not gonna be a vlog, but it's more of a thing that I've always wanting to discuss with you guys. Not just the nicest things about Japan, but also negative sides of Japan. And I know that like you guys probably found me through my Japanese vlogs and other top 10 Daiso videos and such. I'm guessing that you guys are probably wanting to visit Japan or potentially like live in Japan, work in Japan. So I decided to talk about top 5 problems of working in Japan. A little bit about my background. I was born in Japan and got majority of my education in the States and live in the States from 12. So I've been in the States for a long time, but I also live with my parents who are Japanese. I had a lot of Japanese friends. I work for companies with Japanese people, including some expats who are directly sent from Japan. So I feel like I have a good knowledge of what it feels like to be, working in Japan. Also based on the stories that I hear from other people. The first problem that I want to mention is like if you're a foreigner, you're Japanese, needs to be really good. Japan is a very conservative country. They don't want to take any risks whatsoever if you can't speak the language. Unless you have a specific skill set or you're teaching English, it's going to be very difficult to find a job. Especially given that they know your background, you're from a foreign country, and a lot of employers are looking for people who can work there permanently until retirement. So, knowing that you're from a foreign country, they might be guessing that you're not going to be sticking around in the country for the entire time. So that's gonna even be harder for you to get a job. You need to at least have some kinds of explanations to do, convince them that you're gonna be sticking around for a long time. But I have to mention that this is slowly changing. A lot of younger people in Japan are in fact, switching jobs after a couple of years to different companies. But in general, still, Japan is very conservative. Things are moving pretty slowly. So it's still gonna be a problem. Employers would love you if you could convince them that you're gonna be there for a long time, almost permanently. The second problem is loyalty. As I mentioned during the first point, Japanese companies want you to work there permanently. Basically, what that means is they want your full commitment and loyalty to join the company and almost become it as a family with them. So what do families do? They become selfless. You gotta be willing to give up certain things without asking anything in return. That connects to my third point, working hours. Working hours in Japan is quite abnormal. Some companies I know expect you to get to the job 30 minutes before so that you can get situated and then get to work immediately right when it turns 9 o'clock or 8:30 or whatever time you're starting work. You get your desk all situated, organized, and everything so that you're ready to work right on time so you don't waste any time of the company, but you're expected to waste your own time basically. And also overtime after your expected regular hours, 5:30 or 6 o'clock, after the 8-hour shift, you are expected to work for longer hours because, as I said, loyalty is a big thing in Japan. Even if you're not being productive or if you can't be productive and focused, if you stay longer hours, your colleagues will see you, your bosses will see you as a very loyal person who are generously giving up your time and being very loyal to the company. So regardless of your skills, if you're very loyal, you're gonna get like very good reputation. Longer hours of your work, better your reputation is going to be. For that reason, I feel that some people in Japan are being very irrational, and I've seen people who are killing time during their working hours as well as after work, regular work hours, and they just like go chatting or go to the bathroom frequently. They keep their straight face and pretend like they're working on something on their computer, but they're actually not. They're surfing the web and stuff, and they're basically wasting time. Overtime hours also extends to events such as your company is holding some kind of like event after work to go to a restaurant and drink. These things, if you don't attend, it affects your reputation from other people. They start questioning your loyalty. So you kind of want to go to these events if you're looking to get promoted. In terms of working hours though, I have to also note that in Korea, like working overtime, excessive overtime is very common. And I just read an article, something about in Korea, there's actually like a cafe that popped up in in the city where people actually $6 per hour to rent a bed, and you tell the front desk person when you rent a bedroom, you tell them like, oh, you want to rent the bed from this time for an hour. When the hour is over, someone will actually come to wake you up in person. So I thought that was a very unique business, and it's there for a reason. People are working excessive hours just like Japan, and because of these rules and expectations and reputation that you are constantly having to worry about working in a company, and it's hard for you to take breaks, take enough sleep, enough time for yourself to rest and get ready for the next workday. So these are the problems. Number 4, getting promoted in Japan is going to be very difficult if you're young, even if you're capable of doing things and then outperform others. If there are people who've been loyal to the company, you're here and they're there in terms of age, even if they're not being productive or have the skill to do certain work that you are able to do here, your pay will only gradually go up because they're like right here pay wise. You know, if you get promoted like this and get on the same flooring, same level as them, these people who've been loyal to the company will think like, why is that guy getting promoted? You know, we've been loyal to the company for like longer time. As you see, the loyalty part of the Japanese working culture affects a lot of things. Number 5, as I said in the beginning, Japan is very conservative, and the companies are as well. So if you feel, this is probably true in the US corporate world too, but especially in Japanese corporate world, if certain rules do not make sense, you can't bring that up to a question, because in Japan, people are very much used to obeying rules that they are given to them. And if you ever have questions about how the company is ran or some of the rules about the society in general, if you have questions and ask someone, that reply you'll probably get is, oh, that's because it's a rule. You know, they give you that rule is like an absolute thing that you cannot absolutely break. But from my perspective, rules are always subject to change, and the rules are made by people just like us. And you know, if you ever have concerns or questions and can come up with the ideas that will allow you to work better, then like you should always bring up the question and then have a rule modifier change. But in Japan, the rule is absolute, and then a lot of times people are very conservative, and they're not really willing to change the rule because it's safe that way. Also, in terms of reputation about yourself, people are afraid to talk to other people during working hours. You know, just be natural and speak to someone who are next to you, because of like how people might judge you. Like people from other departments come and see you, and then they see you that you're talking to someone else, and they think you're wasting time, and you can get reported to your boss, and then that might be seen as like a bad thing. So then it's always like people can't feel free from these rules. They're not supposed to talk. They talk on the chat. You know, they don't show that they're talking to someone. They pretend like they're working even though they're really not. The rules are something that is very difficult for me to wrap my head around, and I think for a lot of foreigners, if you're working in a corporate environment in Japan. I forgot to mention here that the general consensus of people are like, why are we following these like very strict rules, but why aren't you following it? Why are you breaking it? As soon as people find out that somebody is breaking a rule, they're like, oh wow, we're stressing out here following all these rules, and why are you breaking them? They'll spot you and report you right away. The last problem that I want to discuss is if you work in a Japanese company, this is like more of like real issues physically. You're given smaller desks compared to the US, where you have your own cubicle, have more personal space in many cases. In Japan, it's very common to have like a rectangular shaped long desk, and then 6 people will be seated and you'll be sitting like right next to someone. You know, you can pretty much see some other person's face on the other side of the table, as well as see what other people are doing right next to you. So spacing wise, you'll be very much close to everyone else. So it'll be tough for people who are not used to those kind of close distance, you know, working environment. So that concludes the top 5 problems for working in Japan. There are probably points that I have not mentioned, I forgot to mention, but I wanted to just give you a general idea of the problems in Japan. And please note that this does not apply to all the companies, but I know a lot of companies have these problems, and it is safe to assume that the company that you're probably thinking about applying and starting to work will have these problems, because I know a lot of companies do. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, because I don't know, it was a very difficult topic to talk about, yet I wanted to discuss and share my knowledge with you guys, because I feel like I know more about Japan than like a lot of people. So especially from the standpoint of being able to live in both countries and like seeing the other country from the outside, I feel like I'm being able to see. I hope you guys enjoyed. That's going to be it for today. If you liked today's video, please hit the thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.